But look at this. That thing gets out of shape right away. You can really see it from the frontal view here, and he just has no control whatsoever, and he's trying to get that thing down. And like we talked about earlier today, we can't control those turbine engines like they can the gas engines.
And the distance, 285.6 feet. He may not take it. What do you know, Bob Gerald?
Well, we're going to find out whether or not he will take the pull. 285 feet. And Art Arfons, what about it? You have the option now to do this again, come out 6th. Will you do it again?
Coming back, yes.
What went wrong with that particular pull?
I don't know. I just got a little too much too quick. Just picked it right up, and I shouldn't have went that high.
What about the difference between the turbines and the other unlimiteds that we're going to see out here?
They've all got goods and bads, you know, pros and cons. Everything's good.
All right, we're going to see Art a little bit later. Right now, let's check in with my cohort down here in what we would call, I guess, the pit area, and that's Tim Wilson. Tim?
Bob, they told me it was going to be cold in Wisconsin. Bring a coat. I'm sitting out here burning up in the stands here in Horsepower Central. I have the Enderley girls behind me. They're the fuel injection girls. Sir, are you excited?
Yeah?
Well, this is going to be loud. You need to get on your earplugs if you're going to come down here. Back upstairs, fellas.
The fans will have a good time tonight with Tim Wilson, as we always do. Our next puller, spectacular rig out of Holland, Michigan. It'll be Steve Klingenberg. But first, we're going to take a quick break before we come back to the biggest tractor pull of them all, the Dairyland Super Nationals. Hang there with us live here on TNN's Motor Madness. Welcome back, everyone, to Tomah, Wisconsin, the NTPA Dairyland Super Nationals. Dan Pastorini, Art Arfons can't drive this turbine tractor like you would a normal engine tractor.
No, you can't, Steve. When these things are on, they're either on or off, and he just got on the throttle there and had too much power and just couldn't control the front end.
But a lot of the pullers, like Steve Klingenberg here, will tell you that this is a power track. It's got just the right amount of moisture in it, just the right kind of dirt, the amount of clay that's in it, that the turbines could have an advantage on this track tonight. Not so much Art, but some of the multi-engine machines we'll be seeing later on.
They could, but the advantage that the blown engines have is that they can get in and out of the throttle that the turbines can't do.
That's right. Let's again go down to Tim Wilson.
Hey, I tell you what, anybody with 8,000 horsepower can pull a sled down a track. But I'm here with a real pulling enthusiast because this is going to be the kiddie pool. Take a look at this right here. That's a $100,000 outfit right there. These kids are going to take this sled, which is a miniature version of the actual sled that we're seeing pulled out there. They're going to pull it 50 feet down an asphalt track using only the horsepower from their little legs right here. So the guys out there in those big rigs are sissies compared to the people down here, and I'm excited about it.
You call them sissies. I'm not about to do that. That's what the NTPA is all about, family fun. Here's our unlimited tractors tonight. You already saw Art Arfons.
Now we're coming up with Steve Klingenberg. He's got some big horsepower with 526 blown Chevy big block engines.
The tractor called Bad Habit. Rosalind Knox, the country girl, been around drag racing and tractor pulling for about 25 years.
Dave Walsh and the Irish Challengers coming at it with a brand new rig. I don't think he's even made a run on it yet. He's got 3 of those big turbine engines on there. Makes a lot of horsepower.
And there's Randy Petro. This is multi-chaos, a veteran campaigner to be sure. And Gardner Stone coming back after a 3-year layoff with his famous old General Stage 4.
He wants to win the championship this year too, Steve.
Yep, and Judy Knipstein.
Judy Knipstein is a veteran racer for many, many years now and is a very competitive racer. Has done very good on the full circuit.
And Bob Jostock, the wild child, a man that whenever he hooks can take home the big cash. So that's our unlimited modified tractor lineup, probably the 8th best in the country. I don't think anybody would argue with that.
No, you've got the best in the business in this field tonight. There's no question about that.
Steve Klingenberg, there's no burnout in this sport.
No, they just kind of back up, hook it up, and let's get going.
Now, you'll hear that referred to as a sled. Technically, it should be known as a weight transfer device. So that's exactly what it is. It's a very complicated piece of machinery, and not only is it heavy, and not only does that sled push down in the dirt, it's also got a box of lead that can transfer at variable rates coming up, and the more that box transfers, there's a nice shot of the sled and the operator. The closer that box gets to the tractor, the tougher it is to pull.
Right, and they set the weight for all the different classes, and they controls that box moving up the sled to add more pressure or downforce to try to tie these guys down. We're getting ready with Klingenberg, excuse me.
Now, you've seen a lot of onboard cameras in motorsports, but I'll tell you what, tonight we have a little bit of a surprise for you. The on-sled camera. looking at the rear of the Steve Klingenberg tractor, and this looks like a great
He's got a good pull going here. He's got a real good pull. Look at that horsepower.
The wheel speed topped 170 miles an hour, even though the tractor never went faster than about 35 miles an hour. The classic distance, as you know, Dan, for a full pull is 300 feet.
And he's right at it, Steve. I'm not quite certain if he's got a full pull here, but we'll get some information on that right now.
The measurement is done by a laser device, not by a tape measure.
A little more sophisticated than the old days.
A little more, and we'll look at those motors. Is that something, Dan?
That is a lot of money right there, believe me.
We have on our hands here our first full pull.
All right.
Steve Klingenberg, 300.1 feet.
Now look at that thing sets. You know, we were talking earlier today with some of the competitors about they don't use much clutch slippage. What they do is they buzz those tires and get those things spinning and then try to control it with the throttle. And he's done a real good job here. He got the front end a little bit high, about half track, but now he's got it down and he's able to bring it back over to the center of the track and gets a nice full pull.
And very well balanced. That's the way you want to carry that front end for maximum transfer, weight transfer to those big rear tires. Bobby Gerald is with Steve.
All right, Steve, a full pull right there. Congratulations, man.
That's a good way to start off the season. I hope I can just come back and top that.
You've been doing this for 14 years now, and I know last year you were right around the top 5, but what would it mean if you could be the big man here today to take home the money in the pull-off?
That means I conquered a big thing, and I'd be just tickled to death.
Well, you sound pretty emotional about this. You're the man to beat right now. What do you think about the rest of the competition here?
Yeah, I had to get on the brake a little bit, and it's going to take a good run to beat it, because it was good, smooth, no vibration, no nothing. It's going to take a good run to beat it.
Congratulations to you, man. Steve?
That is some confidence there. Well, remains to be seen. Rosalind Knox is pretty confident, too. A former funny car drag racer. She's one tough lady when it comes to tractor pulling. Right now, hey, Katie, you rooting for Rosalind Knox back there in Charlotte?
No, I might as well. She's a gal, and we got to stick together.
Hang together.
That's right. But actually, as we go wide open, we're going to focus on one of the other women competitors. There's not many of them competing in the tractor pull series. Judy Knipstein. She's from Fort Wayne, Indiana, and she is there tonight.
Katie, let's call her a pioneer, but Judy is no flash in the pan. She's been involved in the sport for 15 years, and her love for these powerful machines goes back to her childhood.
I don't know. I'm a farm girl. I've been raised on the farm, and I can remember as a small child, my dad would take me to, you know, the tractor pulls when they were just farm tractors, and people would jump on the sled as it went down, you know, and then we lived on a farm. I grew up on a farm, and he was interested in it, and I think he kind of like sparked the interest in it. It is a family affair. My husband, Leonard, he's basically the mastermind of it. He puts all the combinations together, and we basically do the grunt work, or the dirty work. I guess I have to feel kind of sorry for Lynn. He's got 2 daughters for crew and a woman driver, so maybe they ought to give us a handicap. Think they would? It's a heavy sport. It's a masculine sport, but when I first said that I wanted to be a part of it, I also said that I would be the first to admit if I couldn't handle it. I didn't want it to be a powder puff, nor has it been a powder puff. If we couldn't, like, lift the weights and set the tractor and do it, then I would be the first to admit and, you know, not put myself or anyone else in jeopardy. But with that, knowing that it's a man's sport, I think we almost tried harder.
Yeah, it is a man's sport, but she does very well. In fact, last year placed 3rd overall.
Katie, that's awesome. All that horsepower right in front of her, and she just got her foot in the gas.
You know, some women, it just comes naturally, you know. So she is my pick, actually, tonight for the ones to watch. I'm going to go with Judy Knipstein. She might really pull something off really nice tonight, and besides that, she really likes being still alive. You got to respect somebody like that.
And I am going with Dave Walsh. You know why?
I have no idea.
He's the Irish Challenger. And I'm Irish myself, so, you know.
Well, he likes steak, too, I read somewhere. So obviously, you two have a lot in common.
That's true.
All right, we're going back. More pulling action coming up. This is the big stuff, the Super Bowl. Don't you go anywhere. We'll be right back with more.